Jim Widener here with Test Products International. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on a full setup of using the TPI Ultra and the 9043 hardware doing a single plane balance job. So one of the things you want to do that I like to do in my settings is just make sure I'm getting good data is come over here and I'll go into the meter mode, and I'm going to go to my sampling setup, and I'm going to set my resolution here so to at least 3,200 lines or 6,400 lines. We'll just go ahead and say 3,200 lines. And then I set my Fmax to 60,000 cycles per minute, so 1,000 hertz, which is the lowest it'll go. So it goes up to, you can see 1,000 hertz or 600,000. So I set it there on 1,000. Then I go back out here to my main screen. And then I'm going to go into my balancer. I'm going to go into my balancing setup, and I'm going to make sure I'm doing everything in imperial, so ounces. And then if I'm using units of length, it's done in inches. I set my balancing RPM here, as you can see, to what the speed of the machine is. If you want, you can check with your tacho and then put that in. Shaft rotation, clockwise or counterclockwise. We're going to be going counterclockwise with the rotation on this. And then displacement, velocity, acceleration, your balancing units, I leave it in velocity. And then the polar plot vector lines, I like to leave those on because it gives me a visual graph of actually seeing what's going on when I'm doing the balance, so I can actually see the angles a little better. Then phase lag, just always leave that set to 0. And then if you're doing something below 600 RPM, you need to move this from 10 hertz down to whatever frequency you need. So 2 hertz, you can go down, which is 120 RPM. So I know all of that's set up and it's good. Now I just go ahead and click my single plane. I can see it's looking, it already sees the 9043 here. So all I do is tap on the 9043 and see the blue light comes on to connect to it. And then we have magnets built into this, so it'll actually mount right to the face of the motor if you want to. As long as you got a flat surface, you can leave it inside with it, and then you can step away from the machine so you're not close while it Bluetooths all the information back to the Ultra. So at this point, my laser tacho's on. I'm going to turn the machine on, make sure my laser tach's picking up and reading correctly. And I can see it's locked on to at 994 RPM. We're getting a good steady reading there. It's not bouncing all over, giving me a crazy number. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit take reading. It's going to send the information to the 9043 here of what I want and what it's to do. And then it's going to collect the data, and right now it's gathering all of it, the amplitude, phase angle, and now it's sending it back. So all the data it gathered, it's Bluetoothing back to this. Then you can see we're at 0.2 inches per second at 61 degrees. So at this point, I'm going to turn my rotor off. And now I have to do my trial weight. So if I click right here, I'm just going to say I'm using clay. I'm going to call this 10. So that'll tell me if I need more or less of this. Then I'm going to set it at 0 degrees. So right here at the top, this is where my reflective tape is, and it's basically my first hole, so it'll be my 0 degrees. And hole 1. Then I set my positions to 8 because I have 8 positions on this, and they're basically all 45 degrees apart. So at this point, I got my trial weight on. I'm ready to go. So now I'm going to go ahead and start my rotor kit back up. I'm going to check my speed's locked in where it needs to. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit take reading for my trial weight so I can get the effect of it. Now it's collecting the data. Then it should be sending it back here directly. Now you can see it's reading the data from it. Now it's popped back up. So we can see we went from 0.2 0.2 inches per second to 0.27 inches per second from 61 degrees to 27 degrees. So if you look here, our original was there from center, then we went here, so we're off just a little over 90 degrees when you look at that, if you were to measure that angle between those two spots, and we want to come back here with our correction weight. So at this point, I have my 8 positions. If I go ahead and click on VR here at the bottom, you can see when I'll set my phase lag right back up on top, or my tape, and then I just overlay this over the shaft. So you can see I'm on hole 1, so it tells me it basically on 3 and 4 I need 10, which is what I called it there, and then I just need 3 here. So at this point, I can leave that up, and I know I need to go from here over to here with my trial weight. So I'll remove my trial weight, and I'm going to go basically 90 degrees where it said with the 10. So we got 10.9, and then it's asking for 2 on the next spot. So I'm going to take just a little piece of clay here and go to my next hole there. And then we're going to see our results. So now I'm going to go back to my main screen, reconnect to the 9043 because I'm leaving the camera at this point. Get that to where we can see it good. Start the machine back up. I can already hear the difference. So at this point, I'm going to say take reading, and we'll see if we hit our measurements just right. It's taking readings, collecting everything. Now it's sending the data back. And if you look, so we went to 0.07, we started at 0.2, 0.27, now we're at 0.07. So this is good. I missed my angle just by a little bit when I set it on there to pull it in, but my weight was spot on. So we just are off a few degrees, and that was me just pushing the clay with my finger because it just starts moving on you one way or the other. So if we actually had bolts that we were putting into the holes or anything like that, it probably would have caught it spot on. So with that, you're pretty much done with your balance job. Then at this point, you can click the report button down here at the end, and then gives you all your information. If I want to configure it here, I can call it the vibration report, machine ID. Let's just make this blower 1, and then I can click on the camera, flip the camera around, and then I can take a picture of the machine. Then I just tell it OK, and now I'll have that there picture of what I balanced in there. If I want to make any other comments, I can add those down here, or any notes. You can put that there. So then at this point, I can hit share, email PDF report, and I'm just going to say it's a Gmail, and then I can send it to whoever I want at this point. So if I click on it right here, I'll just send it to myself. And if I want to take a look next, and if I want to say anything, I can add it there, but I'm just going to go ahead and send it. Then it sends the report off. So and that's all there is to it. If I want to save it as a PDF report, I can just click there and it'll be saved. So that's all there is to using the TPI 9043 Ultra for balancing. If you have any questions, please give us a shout here at Test Products International. I hope this video helps you in setting up and using the program for balancing. Once again, Jim Widener, Test Products International. Thank you for watching the video.